Hello, everybody. This is Ina Coveney, your salary replacement expert, and I'm here to talk to you about how do you discern who's your ideal client and who isn't. There are three things that I really want you to keep in mind, and I know that this is kind of difficult when you're starting out. You just want to get a client, you just want to get that out of the way and just do it. But the truth is that your business is not going to have a very long life as long as you keep burning yourself out with just any kind of client. This is why it's so important to identify who you want to work with and do your market research on what that person actually needs from you so you know how to market yourself. So I think I probably have this in mind because my BFund program students are entering week 2 of the program right now. And just so you guys know, my BFund program is the program where we walk new entrepreneurs through market research and finding their ideal client, creating their brand new freebie, understanding their sales funnel, and creating their brand new professional website in just 14 weeks. This program is going to launch again in January, so stay tuned to see if that's right for you at that time. But in the meantime, I'm super excited because that's where I live. Those are my students. That's what we're going through. And we're just entering the market research stage right now. We just talked all about ideal client. And there are three things I just really need everybody to know and everybody to understand. So we're going to dive into this. But first, I'm going to give you a couple of stories that may feed into this. Story number 1. This morning, I went to the post office because I needed to go drop off a package. And I was talking to the postman, and he asked me what I do. I told him that I help professionals start side business and replace their salary so they can do whatever they want in their lifetime through an online business. I can't really help brick and mortar people. It's not what I do. It's not my niche. It's not my ideal client. I only do it online. And he points to the guy behind me and he says, well, that guy has a great online business. So I turned around and I asked him, what is it that you do? And he says, I sell used books online. And I told him, oh my God, I could have used you. I just went to Burlington 20 minutes away, 25 minutes away to drop off a whole bunch of books into a donation box because I just couldn't handle it. And he's like, yeah, you probably left a lot of money on the table. I'm like, I am sure I did. How do I find you? And he's like, well, I'm very hard to find. I'm like, okay, what is your website? I don't have one. This is more like a hobby. Okay, so how would I hire you? How would I ever get in touch with you? He's like, well, it's more like an eBay thing. I'm like, okay, what is your eBay username? He's like, well, I do this more like a hobby. I'm like, okay, let me get this straight. You don't want me to find you. He's like, well, it's just a hobby. Let me get this straight. You don't want me to find you. And he says, yes. Okay, then. Have a wonderful day. See you later, right? And the reason I'm telling you that story right now is because some people believe that just because I'm a salary replacement expert, I am out to change everybody's minds about what their life should be like. And for example, if I had, talked to this guy and I was out to change everybody's mind, I would have probably sat him down and told him, you have a very small money mindset, my friend. You're saying no to money. You're saying no to connections. You're saying no to growing. You're saying no to basically having more than you do now. You're closing yourself off for whatever reason that is in your head and you're not coming out. But the truth is, guys, this guy did me a favor by weeding himself out as an ideal client of mine, right? He himself doesn't want to grow. He didn't want my help. He's fine running his business as a complete hobby and not getting any more clients that he needs to. And that is totally cool for him. He has no regrets. But it's not gonna take any time of my sleep tonight, right? This is just not the kind of person I should be working with. The kind of person I work with knows what they want, and they know that working with me, they're gonna get there faster. They know that for a fact, right? I don't need to convince anybody of it. And another thing happened this week where I posted on my Facebook profile asking people if they knew if doctors and nurses hire professional development coaches. I wasn't asking for me. I was actually asking for one of my clients because I will do anything for my clients to help them out. And this was a belief that my client had, that this wasn't a thing, that doctors and nurses didn't hire coaches. And I beg to differ. I've been in the coaching industry for a little bit, and I know that doctors and nurses hire coaches. It was a matter of drawing them out. So I posted about it. And one person that I haven't talked to in 20 years, right? I knew her from my college days. She sends me a private message and basically explains to me that doctors and nurses have their own societies and conferences and associations. And if I wanted to break into that business, it would be very hard to do it if I don't have clinical experience. So I said, oh, hi, hello, thank you so much for that feedback. I'm actually not asking for myself, so don't worry about it. But how are you doing? How are things going? And she said, oh, I'm good. And I'm like, are you in healthcare? Is this why this is topic for you? Yes, I'm in healthcare. I'm an eye doctor. And I'm like, okay, great. That's wonderful. How do you like it? Because at that point, we hadn't talked about anything else. So I just went straight to like, how do you like your job? And I didn't mean for it to sound like, hey, tell me if you hate your job so I can sell you something. That was the farthest thing from my mind. I was just making chit chat. I'm like, isn't this how normal people talk? Right? Like, oh, see, I work with an ophthalmologist. I'm an eye doctor. And I'm like, oh, cool. How do you like it? And she says immediately back, like, oh, I've been doing this for 12 years and there's very little chance that somebody like me would ever change careers. And I said, what made you say that? Did anybody suggest that you should change careers? She's like, no, but I've seen your posts. So this is another case of somebody believing that I'm going around talking to people who have a full-time job to convince them to do something else, to try to draw out that they actually don't care for their job, that they want. That's not what I'm doing at all. In fact, I have a very complex marketing machine to make sure that people know what I do. And she knew what I do, right? And if she needed me, she would have known where to find me. But I don't go knocking on doors asking people if they like their job. And if they don't like it, hey, let me sit you down and tell you how much better it could be. That's not what I do. What I do is I put out there that there's a possibility for people who are already thinking that their job is not for them, right? You already have to have that in your mind for you to even want to approach me or to join this group or to listen to this podcast. You got to already believe that. I'm not going around knocking on doors telling people, hey, there's something better out there. But sometimes people get freaked out by somebody who might be selling them something, and that's how they react. So nothing against her. Perfectly nice girl, but it made me think like maybe I should stop asking people if they like their job because like it's related to my job. So maybe, I just shouldn't be asking that. Okay, lesson learned. I don't want to turn anybody off. But the truth is that not everybody who has a job is my ideal client. Even if this girl had ever thought to herself, I can't believe I went down this path and that I'm never going to do anything different ever again. I really wish I had started a business doing something else. Even if she had had those thoughts, it's not up to me to convince her that she should do something about it. It's not my job, all right? It's my job to help her if she does, but it's not my job to convince her. So the reason I'm telling you the story is because you are going to be thinking of your clients and you're going to be thinking of people out there who have a problem. But it's not up to you. It's not your job to convince them that they need to take a step about it, right? I could be going online and telling everybody, hey, if you hate your job, right? Think of something else, right? Instead, I prefer to go out there saying, hey, if you don't like what you do and you already have a business idea, this is how you make it happen. So do you see the difference there? So think about your client. And now I want you to think about these 3 ways to weed them out that I'm going to walk you through because it's going to save you a lot of trouble. Another little story I wanted to tell you. It's not much of a story, but a hypothetical story. My mentor, Gladys, you guys have heard me talk about her before. She and I were talking about ideal audience. And ideal audience is something that everybody should keep in mind at every stage of their business. It's not something you just do the first week of your business and you're done. It's something that continues to evolve. So she told me, what if you met someone at a dinner party who was telling you that, she has a job in corporate and that she likes it okay. It's not really what, she loves, but whatever, she's just going to stay in that job. Gladys asked me, what do you think your role is in her life? I'm like, I don't think I have any role in her life. I believe that she has made her decision and this is what she wants to do. And there's nothing for me to do about it. Now, if she had come out and said, hey, what do you do? I'm a salary replacement expert. Oh my God, I've been thinking about starting a new business. Can I pick your brain? That's a different story. Do you see how that dynamic is much easier for me than it is to hear her say she doesn't like her job and then me probing her and peppering her with questions about like, wait, but why? But what is it? But what? That's not what I do. It's not what I do. I will talk to you about starting a new business if that's something you want to do, but I'm not going to make you think that you need to start one if you haven't already thought about it. So think about these 3 things as you go around the world thinking about your ideal client. Are you ready? I'm going to start with number 1, which is they don't know that they need you. So this speaks to a self-awareness, okay? Somebody that doesn't know they need help, somebody that, somebody that they hear that I'm a salary replacement expert and they don't have any impetus, any motivation to ask me any questions about it. They don't know that they need help, and that's totally cool. They are going to live their life the way that they want to. But if somebody doesn't know that they need my help, it's not up to me to convince them. That's where a really, really bad sales call story would be, right? Me trying to convince someone that they need my help. Not my problem. Not what I do. If you need help, I'm here to facilitate it for you. I'm not here to convince you of it. So think about your client. What if you are a health and wellness person and you meet someone at a waiting room? You're both there. You notice that this person is overweight and you are a health nut. You're like, oh my God, this person's life could be so much better if they did this and this and this and this. And you start talking to them. And turns out that they don't really want to talk about their weight. Even after you've come out and said, hey, I'm a health and wellness expert, they're going to be like, yeah, thanks, but no thanks. I'm okay, right? Not everybody is your ideal client, especially people who don't want help, who don't know that they need your help, okay? So, that was just one example. What if you are I'm seeing people that are popping in here. What if you are somebody who is a realtor, right? You're a real estate agent or you own your broker firm, and you meet people who are renting. Is it your job to convince them that buying a house is better? No. They've already been peppered with all this information in other places. You're not there to convince them to buy a house. You're there to tell them, oh, I'm a realtor in your area. That's cool. Where do you live? Oh, I know a lot about that area, right? Wherever they rent, right? Oh, I know that building. I know that manager. Oh, that's cool. That's it. If they need a realtor, they will come out and tell you, hey, I think we need your help. Okay? So people will come to you when they need help. You are not trying to convince anybody of anything. Okay? Number 2, second way to weed out your non-ideal client. You are having a hard time finding a glimmer of hope in their language. In other words, they have to want to be helped, right? Suppose that I'm having a conversation with someone and all I hear is, yes, I want to do this, but I feel like this is not going to work out for me because of this and this. And you try to kill those objections. Like, well, actually, I've had clients who've had the same problem. Yeah, but. What if everything that comes out of their mouth is just a negative thought, right? Just recently, I posted on my profile about, hey, you guys, every time that I watch a TED Talk, I wish it was me up there. Does anybody else feel the same way? Anybody else feel like they want to do a TED Talk? And there is this one person, just one person, who every time that she comments on my posts is something negative, right? And this is someone that, if somebody asks me, can you help her? No, I can't, because somebody who has such negative beliefs about what they can do, I can't bring them out of that. That's what mindset coaches are for. But even a mindset coach wouldn't be able to help that person if that person doesn't believe they need help. So no, I can't help anybody, like force them to do anything if they don't want to be helped. If everything that comes out of their mouth is a negative, that's a bad sign. Now, what if I have a client in front of me, an ideal client in front of me, who they have been thinking about starting their business on the side. They've even created a website for it, right? But they still have a lot of limiting beliefs. Here's the difference. They are aware of their limiting beliefs. They are aware that when they tell you, listen, I started my website. I really feel like I could make this much bigger and I could really use the help, but I just feel like maybe I just can't do it. Maybe, maybe my ideal client is not really out there. Maybe I just haven't figured it out. But I know that I'm just talking out of fear. I know that other people have figured this out and I just need to get over mine. That self-awareness, that glimmer of hope is all you need, because you can tell that that person wants a change and they're fighting against the grain through their own limiting beliefs. That's when you can throw them a rope and be like, I can help you. You seem to know that you're drowning down there in these beliefs. I'm going to help you believe something else. Come, let's do it. That's a much different story than somebody who's just telling you, but I can't. I can't convince you that you can. You got to believe that you can, right? So we have number one, they don't know they need you. They're not even aware that somebody like you can help them. Number two, they're just swimming in negativity and they don't see a glimmer of hope themselves. You're not going to draw out that hope. You got to see that hope in order to throw them a rope and help them up. Okay? And the last one that I wanted to share with you today is that you feel that you can actually help them because either you've been there or you've done this before. So this is an important one because it weeds out anybody that you feel like, I feel like I could do something for you, but because it's not an ideal match, you're not really in your, what is called your zone of genius, right? You're not really doing the best you can for that person. For example, I have had people who just want me to make their website, right, with their own vision. I've had people who want to go through my program without the website. I've had people who they just want to get my coaching without any particular structure. And I'm like, yeah, I can make your website without going through the first steps of ideal client and market research and figuring out your funnel. Sure, I could. You could pay me by the hour and I can make anything you want. I could. You can take my program without the website. At the same time, everything that we do in the program for market research and for getting your idea out there and for your funnel and everything is so that you can have a huge, amazing online presence. So without the website, I feel like that there's a part missing in there. So I'm not really giving you like everything that I should be, right? Like you should want the website. Like that's something you should want. That's something you should choose to want. And I've had people, like, what did I say? The last one was? Yeah, just one-on-one coaching, just whatever comes up that day. Yes, I can do it, but without a process. This sounds more like therapy, right? Therapy could go on for years and years with you just basically making like tiny improvements here and there. I want a goal. I've been a project manager in corporate for 15 years, and I think in terms of processes, I think in terms of goals and results and getting you there. So just having conversations every week, sure, it puts money in my pocket, but I don't feel like it's serving you very well, and it's not really not really touching my zone of genius, which is actually getting you to have an amazing online presence, to be able to compete with other people, to show up in a way that nobody else is showing up. That's what I can do for you, right? So the third one of weeding out your non-ideal client is really feeling like it's your process that they're paying for and that they're going to go through it and that they're going to see results for it because you know that your process works, right? It's not just a la carte. It's not just like, sure, I can help you and that's going to put money in my pocket, so sure, I'll do it. It should feel like you're really giving them your all. That's how you know that they're your ideal client or not. So I really hope that this has been helpful. And if you want to hear more about this, you guys come over to the Facebook group because I do sessions here all the time. Every single week I am live. Every single week I teach you something or I motivate you or I inspire you. And it's all around the idea of creating that business that you love, creating that life that you love. And on that note, I wanted to tell you about this new initiative that is really exciting for me, that I have no idea what it looks like, but you guys have heard me say before that action comes first and everything else just lags behind, right? You first have to do it. You first have to go to the gym in order to feel better about yourself. You don't just feel better about yourself and then start going to the gym, right? It's the same thing with business. You first start taking steps and then refactor as you go along. So with that in mind, walking my own talk, I have decided to start a new Facebook page. It's not a group, it's just a page. It's called The Global Phenomenon. And it's a page where I decided, you know what? I want to start talking to those people who have a much bigger dream than just replacing their salary, than just starting a business on the side, than just just replacing the life that they have right now, but just with more flexibility. Like, I want to know who of you out there, and I'm talking to the podcast people, Facebook people, okay? Who of you out there see yourselves on the TED stage? Who of you out there see yourself as the next president of the United States? Who of you out there see yourself as someone who's going to be an industry leader? Someone whose job is basically go to conferences and be a keynote speaker to inspire more masses. Somebody who's going to be helping a lot of people think bigger. Huge inspiration coming from you. Who has that big vision in their life? Who wants to be the next Oprah? Who wants to be the next Marie Forleo? Who wants to be the next Barack Obama? The next Michelle Obama? Who wants that out there? If that's you, and nobody has been talking to you because everybody's always just talking so small, come over to the Facebook page. It's called, you can get there by going to inacoveney.com/global. You have to spell Coveney right. It ends in EY, and that's global as in the global phenomenon. That's what the page is called. Go and like it and follow it, because this Tuesday, tomorrow, May 12, 2020, I'm going to go live at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, and I'm going to set the ground rules for this movement. So if that's something that appeals to you, thinking really big, I'm going to see if we can come up with a process for doing that. Again, like I said, process mind, right? Process and tactics, and what do we do to actually get our message to be really, really big and put it out there. That's what's going to happen in that page, the global phenomenon. I don't know what this is going to look like. I'm taking action, messy action. In fact, if you go to theglobalphenomenon.com, you will see a video of me that I created on the day that I came up with this idea. I'm not even wearing makeup. I just created it. I let my smile be my makeup. I'm like, people look at my smile, they won't notice that I don't have makeup, right? That's how it works. Right? My hair is put up. I'm just wearing a tank top. I'm like, this is what the global phenomenon is. If you want to follow it, go to the Facebook page, the global phenomenon, inacoveney.com/global. Spell Coveney right. It ends in EY. And I really hope to see you there, because I have no idea what that's going to look like, but I think it's going to be amazing. So for all my big dreamers out there, go and join us there. And I've gotten the question, what is the difference between the global phenomenon and trailblazing out of corporate life? In this space, in trailblazing out of corporate life, you're going to continue to hear from me about creating the business that you love, but about not getting stuck at your job, about not settling, about not taking the word realistic and applying to everything you do, to completely throw the word realistic in the trash and to go for your dreams. The global phenomenon, it's an add-on, only for people who are dreaming much bigger than salary replacement. And I really hope to see you there. All right. I think that's it for me. I hope you enjoyed this episode and you would feel compelled to leave a review on iTunes if you're on an iPhone. And by the way, if you don't have an iPhone, you can still leave a review. You just have to, it's a little bit more work, but it happens. It's possible. You just have to download iTunes on your computer and then go to the podcast and then leave a review there. That's how I leave my reviews for the podcasts that I like. Okay, that's all I had for you guys. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, and I will see you soon. Bye! Hey there! Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed what you just saw and you want more of that, subscribe to the channel right here. Also, here's another video that I think you should watch. And one more thing, did you know that there is a podcast? Just search for it, Trailblazing Out of Corporate Life with Ina Coveney, but you have to spell Coveney right. It ends in EY. I'll see you there.